Good morning, class. Welcome to Language Arts. Today is Monday, May 18th. Let's get started. So today we're doing another kind of upbeat creative song. It is Corner of the Sky from the awesome musical Pippin, which is basically the story of a rich guy who is born and is really unsatisfied with his life, just kind of being boring. Very similar to the song we read yesterday, or on Thursday, excuse me. And so where is I going with this? Oh, yeah. So this story is about a boy who is born into a wealthy family and is really trying to find his purpose, trying to give back to the world, find meaning in his life. And so the question that's kind of posed throughout this musical is, what gives us happiness? What gives us meaning in our lives? So what I want you to do is listen or read the lyrics 3 times. The first time, I want you to highlight examples of words that you don't know. That's our skip it and move on strategy. The second time, I want you to listen to anything that sounds like figurative language. There is some magic in this song. The first song is literally We've Got Magic to Do. But in this particular song, I want you to assume that there's no magic present. The third time you listen to it, I want you to draw a picture of what you think this person looks like, what you think they're doing. When you finish that, we're going to answer these questions. So number 1 says, reread the phrase from the passage. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. The word ramble most likely means A, destroy everything in its path. Again, you ask yourself, does that really fit with the tone of this song? Does it really sound like it's a song about rambling and destroying everything in its path? Does it mean to make a loud clattering noise, flowing, taking many turns on its path, or singing with gusto? Also remember to use our plug and chug strategy for this one. So for example, rivers belong where they can sing with gusto. That doesn't make any sense. Rivers belong where they can flow, taking many turns on its path. Well, that makes sense. Rivers belong where they can make a loud clattering noise. That doesn't make sense. Rivers belong where they can destroy everything in its path. That still doesn't make sense. So the answer in 3, 2, 1 is C, flowing and taking many turns on its path. Number 2, the singer uses the phrase, my corner of the sky, many times throughout the song. This most likely means A, the singer doesn't want to feel that he fits in. The singer doesn't feel that he fits in wherever he is and wants to find somewhere where he does fit in. B, the singer wants to fly and find a piece of the atmosphere that he can claim as his own. C, the singer has been sent on a journey that he deems too dangerous. Again, think of that tone. D, the singer is unhappy with the weather where he wants, and he wants to move somewhere warmer. So I want you to think, does my corner of the sky, does that mean literally a piece of the sky? Probably not, right? There's not a way for us to get a piece of the atmosphere, a piece of the sky. This is most likely figurative language, or not meaning exactly what it's saying. So he's not saying he actually wants to take a piece of the atmosphere, or like B, or D, that he's unhappy with the physical sky or weather and wants to live somewhere else. So that kind of leaves us with A and C. And so we need to think about which one of these fits the tone. This song is very upbeat and promising and hopeful. That's kind of the tone the author is giving us. So C doesn't really make sense, that this is a dangerous journey. If anything, it looks like he's kind of looking for danger. So A here makes the most sense, that the singer doesn't feel that he fits in wherever he is and wants to be somewhere else that he fits in. There's also a bunch of lines in the text that we could use as evidence that show us that this is the case, right? He says, why don't I fit in anywhere I go? Okay, number 3. The singer of the song is most likely going to A, continue living his life as normal, B, start a revolution, C, become a pilot, D, begin a journey in search of a place where he can fit in. This is more of a comprehension question, so I want you to use your strategies. Pause if you need to. I'm going to give the answer in 3, 2, 1. The answer to this one is D. He's trying to find a place where he can fit in. This song is very similar to A Spark of Creation. It's also very similar to the Hercules song that we listened to a couple weeks ago. Number 4, the author uses the word can repeatedly throughout the song. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Which best describes what part of speech is in these examples? An action verb, a past tense verb, a helping verb, or a pronoun? I'm going to give the answer. Feel free to pause in 3, 2, 1. This is C, a helping verb. And how you know it's a helping verb is this is a verb, right? It's saying something that you can do, right? but you can't can across the room. That doesn't make sense. So in this case, it's helping the verb can fly, can ramble, can run. There's an action verb next to can each time. So can is helping us better understand that action verb, ramble, fly, and run. Number 5, which stanza best explains how ambitious and driven the main character is in comparison to the other people that he meets? So if you look at your lyrics, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not really an option here, but it should be like D, the furthest one down on your page. The specific line is, so many men seem destined to settle for something small, but I won't rest until I know I have it all. So he's saying some people might be happy with a simpler dream. My dreams are complicated, and I'm ambitious and driven. And I hope all of you are ambitious and driven and aren't happy to settle for something small. Want to go take it out and achieve the world. Number 6, don't you see I want my life to be something more than long? Is said by this character to mean A, I want to do something with my life, not just live as long as possible. B, if I don't find where I'm supposed to be, my life will not be as long. C, I want to find where I'm meant to be so that I can live a long life. Or D, I don't care if my life is long. I only care about finding where I belong. So I'm going to give the answer to this one in 3, 2, 1. This is really A. I want my life to be something more than long. So he's not saying that he doesn't want his life to be long or that his life is going to be cut short. He wants it to be more than. So pay attention to that preposition there. All right, so moving on to Mudshark, let's take a look at the answers from yesterday's comprehension. We read chapters 4 and 5. Why does the librarian have so many pets? On page 19, it characterizes the librarian best by saying she was thoughtful and kind, and she always believed the best of everybody. She was, above all else, a master librarian. She was also wonderfully unhinged. If a couple of crayfish were good, she thought, looking around the empty space in her library, that suddenly seemed to cry out for cages, aquariums, and terrariums. So she's just kind of an eccentric character who really wants to give the kids the best experience and is very enthusiastic about it, but kind of goes a little bit too far. Who is Sparky? Is he important to the story? Sparky the armadillo is what the librarian has. It helps characterize Miss Undertoff and turn her library into a zoo. It also kind of shows us that she's really gullible, right? She thinks it's a real armadillo and it turns out to be a purse. What is the mystery Mudshark is trying to solve? Why do you think this is a big deal? The main mystery is that all of the erasers in the school have been stolen. Even though this book is a mystery, humor is more important than this mystery. What do you think happened with the parrot? Do you think the parrot makes Mudshark a little less cool? Answers will vary with your predictions, but the parrot in some ways makes Mudshark more cool because it's popular and Mudshark has the kind of same skills. It depends on what your interpretation is, though. What kind of character is Betty? She is a friend and a student who is always creating crazy concoctions like the anti-bruise cream for the death ball games. Number 6, what is the clue from the parrot that he burps out on the bench by the coach's office? So you can predict different things. That's what makes every reader different. There's no right or wrong answer to this question, but you need to connect the two events of the parrot and the animals to the erasers. Okay, so let's take a look. The vocabulary: nocturnal means B, awake at night. Incessant means A, nonstop. And concoction means C, mixture. Love that word, concoction. So conflict. Conflict is synonymous or means the same thing as problem in a story. Without something going wrong, the story wouldn't be very interesting. What do you think the conflict is in this story? And is there more than one conflict in the story? Something I kind of want to point out. So I used to show conflict in the following way, and I kind of want to explain the story. So I had, and I'll kind of talk about how I did it last year. I had a student go out in the hallway, okay? And I said, so-and-so, let's call him Adrian, because I know Adrian's in our class. Adrian, come in. Sit down on this chair. So Adrian would open the door, he'd walk in the classroom, and he'd sit down on the chair. And I'd turn and ask the class, do you think that story is very interesting? Everybody, of course, would say no, right? Because it's not very interesting, Adrian coming in and sitting on the chair. So now I locked the door, and now I'm not letting Adrian in. Now, the story, Adrian tries to come in the door and bangs his head on the door. Doesn't hurt, though, in this story. Pretend. That story is even more interesting. Now let's pretend that Adrian's life depends on getting inside the door. He is being chased by killer zombies outside this door. I've locked it, and we can let him in, but we don't know if we should. And so now his task is still the same thing, right? The same events. He's still trying to open the door. He's still trying to sit down. But by adding in zombies, by adding in the locked door, we've created a lot more problems for him and a lot more conflict. Likely Adrian would run up to the door and start banging and screaming and yelling and saying, please open it, these zombies are going to eat me. And so that would make our story much more interesting than the first version where he just came in and sat down. So we need problems in a story. It's really important to have a good problem in a story. And honestly, in a lot of stories, the more problems, the better. So what we're identifying today is what is the main conflict in this story? What is going wrong? And is there more than one conflict? And in this story, I would argue there's more than one conflict. For example, there's a conflict between Mudshark and the parrot. There's a conflict between the custodian and the animal habitats and maybe the principal. There is a conflict between Mudshark and solving the mystery of where the erasers went. There is a conflict of Mudshark and his sister. And some of these are bigger conflicts than other, but they all add to that story, right? Having just one conflict wouldn't be very interesting. Having many conflicts is much better from a story perspective, not in real life. So our comprehension questions for chapters 6 and 7, number 1, what characterization points can you figure out about the custodian based on what he has in his room and what he asked the parrot in other events? Number 2, what do you make of the crime? What would you do if you were Mudshark? Do you think the school would be a better place if we got rid of erasers? Number 3, what do you think the game Death Ball is like? Make up some rules. Why do you think this game is so important to the school and the story? Whoops, is that it? Yes, it is. Whoops. Oh no, I totally lost my spot. There it is. Okay. Then our vocabulary. Oh no, I'm so bad at computers. Oh no. I swear, I'm trying to get better. Okay. Circle the word that best defines the underlined word from the chapter. His mother and father didn't seem to notice the food flying across the table. They were engrossed in a discussion of library funding. So we can use our plug and chug method here to plug and chug each of those words in for engrossed. They were concentrating and focused. Ooh, that makes sense. They were disgusted by a discussion of library funding. That doesn't make sense. They were lightly chatting about a discussion of library funding. That doesn't make sense. Or they were angered, hoping to stop the library funding. That also doesn't make sense. So use that plug and chug strategy if you get stuck. Yes, Dad, Kyle sounded almost meek, even though he was secretly wondering what he could possibly do to top this one. A, angry, B, sad, C, sorry, quiet, or D, happy, laughing. Number 3, then there's the half that just keeps writing over everything, and you have seen that undecipherable layer of gobbledygook on the boards in the science wing. A, tiny and invisible, B, unable to be read or understood, C, obvious, completely clear, or D, educational, academic in its meaning. Number 4, as soon as he entered the house, his mother whizzed past him, thrusting a sticky Sarah into his arms. Does thrusting mean A, shoving, B, stealing, C, anxiously, or D, lovely? Number 5, Mudshark held Sarah at arm's length and inventoried the damage. A piece of dog kibble was stuck in her hair. She had colored her entire right hand with purple marker, and her shoes were not only mismatched but also on the wrong feet. Does inventoried mean A, surveyed, B, ignored, C, hated, or D, terrified? That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you tomorrow.